Hi, this is Jeff Pospisil of the Dakotas Conference of the United Methodist Church, and this video will cover the 2017 Clergy Compensation. Our pastor should have received a copy of the Clergy Compensation form with their personal numbers already entered, and we also sent a hard copy to the SPRC or PPRC chairs. I'm going to use this fictitious pastor, Larry Welk from Strasbourg, Harriet, to highlight the changes that we made in the 2017 form. The first change we made is in the breakdown of the parish expenses. We used to just ask for the percentage, but it wasn't always clear what percent went with which church, and we had a handful of billing errors. So this will help avoid the billing errors by entering in the percentage and then the church name below it. One thing I should mention is that if you see any numbers that need to be changed, the best way to communicate that to the finance and benefits offices would be to cross it out and then write in the new number. So for example, if Strasbourg and Harriet decided to change from a 50-50 split to a 60-40 split, they would cross out the old numbers and write in 60 and 40 instead. The next change we did was we included in instructions near the top of each section. The old forms used to have instructions and notes kind of interspersed haphazardly throughout the form, so we've decided to consolidate those. So now if you read the instructions, they'll have information such as what the new minimum compensation is and some helpful hints. And so I encourage you to read through those. It'll make it a little easier to fill out your form. Same as prior years, what we've done is included what the numbers you sent last year in, and we also include the new numbers that we've calculated for 2017. So this will give you a little head start in filling out the 2017 clergy compensation form. For the benefits section, we have a couple of changes that are significant. First one is we have a HealthFlex pastor share. This number is no longer set. It's no longer finalized until after the November open enrollment period. Our pastors, they'll have a choice between two plans. One is less expensive than the other. And if they choose the less expensive plan, then their pastor share will go down as they'll be able to participate in some of the savings. The next change we have is that we have a third option for how a pastor can contribute to their personal investment plan, and that's through this Roth option, and that is an after-tax salary withholding. And I'm just going to highlight this because every year I get calls from bookkeepers and treasurers asking for a copy of the clergy compensation form because they want to know how much to pay their pastor, and payroll is today or tomorrow. And so it's so important to get a finalized copy of this to the person who cuts the payroll checks. And the last thing I want to highlight is we have a change in our pension direct bill. For three-quarter time pastors now, they are included in our death and disability coverage, known as CPP. This is a good benefit, so we've decided to include them in it. One thing I want to pass on is just a helpful hint. If you are using the pastor's electronic copy, you can edit it, and I have just Adobe Reader here, which is a free program. You can go to comment, and then there's this T here, and that way you can just write on the form and save your changes, and that would be a great way to share this form with people before the meeting instead of waiting for the meeting and then handing out a bunch of paper forms for people to look at. The next thing I want to do is show you what resources we have available online. And if you go to our website, which is dakotasumc.org, under resources, forms and resources, and the third section here is charge conference forms, clergy compensation forms. And here you can get a blank copy of the clergy compensation form. I urge you to save this to your computer. If you don't save it to your computer, sometimes it opens up in the browser and it won't let you save your changes. So a lot of times if you right click it, you can choose save as. It also has our clergy compensation instructions, our pension direct bill calculator, and then a bunch of other forms that you may need depending on what benefits your pastor is enrolled in. The next thing I want to cover real quick is the blank copy of the clergy compensation form, which I just showed you where it was online. This form, I'm just going to highlight, we put in a number of formulas in there to help it make it easier to calculate what benefits your pastor gets. And so the main things you need to be concerned about in this one is that the status, the compensation, and the housing will affect your pastor's benefits. So for example, if I have a pastor making $41,000 in 2017, that will automatically fill in my pension direct bill as 10,932 and my health flex direct bill as 12,017. The 12,017 is a standard amount unless you have a clergy couple. In other words, a couple where both spouses are appointed full time. And then you can click that and it will split that amount between the two spouses. So then if I change from a parsonage to cash housing allowance, that will change my direct bill. And now it's 11,517. So it calculates it automatically, and I do show my work. So this down here, if you wanted to run the numbers on your own, you can see if they agree with what I have here. And like I said, the status does matter. So if you don't know what the status means, it should be on the copy of the compensation form that you sent out. But if, for example, you wanted to find out what a retired pastor, how their benefits would change, RE, you can find the statuses in a journal or you can ask your pastor. And then all of a sudden you can see automatically no pension direct bill, no health flex direct bill. Or if you have a pastor of another denomination, which is OF, same deal. And if you have a pastor that's 3/4 or not full time anyway, 3/4, you'll see that changes as well. No longer are they eligible for health flex and their pension direct bill went down. And you'll see I said the change where CPP is included. You can see that's automatically included now versus if you were at halftime, you'll see that CPP part goes away. And another change I want to highlight too is our pastors that are in the pension program, we recommend that they contribute at least 1% of their compensation to their personal investment plan, our UMPIP. And so we tell what that amount is right here on the bottom. And that number will change when you change the other number. So if 41,000, it was 512. If I change it to 60,000, now it's $750. And the other thing that changes it too is, and this is if you have to change the housing to no parsonage provided, I mean, now that jumped down to $600. Or if I had a housing allowance, now it's up to $800. And the last thing I want to highlight is we did include some filters in here. So an MRA, or medical reimbursement account, needs to be between $300 and $2,550. So if you try to enter an amount that's not in that range, you will get a warning message. And you could either delete it or enter in a valid amount. So I hope these tools will help you in this important process of determining your pastor's compensation. And may God bless you during this charge conference season.